Alright, guys. I watched Fall Guy. Fall Guy, the latest movie starring Ryan Gosling. Fresh off of Barbie, wearing pink, Ken jokes, I'm Knuff. Well, this is his follow-up movie. We got Fall Guy, directed by David Leitch. Interesting fella. One of the two people who directed the original John Wick. One person went off to direct John Wick 2 and 3 and 4, while he went off to make Deadpool 2, Bullet Train, and now Fall Guy. Hated Bullet Train, was not a fan of Bullet Train. Had that kind of Guy Ritchie, Tarantino wannabe style, which felt like the early 2000s where a lot of movies were doing that. But now he's got a new movie, Fall Guy. He's also an ex-stuntman, which is very appropriate for this movie, given how Ryan Gosling plays a stuntman. The story follows Ryan Gosling. He gets a very bad injury on a film set while he's kind of crushing on the camera operator. We jump into the future where he's still recovering from that injury. The crush is now a director, so he is asked to return to the stuntman chair once more. But a bunch of crazy antics ensue when the actor he's doubling for is missing, and he has to investigate where is this person. This movie is too fucking convoluted, and usually a sign for me that a movie is convoluted is, do I want to describe the movie to the camera? And if the answer is no, it means it's convoluted. I like the whole stuntman thing. I was worried going into this movie that would be a Hollywood sucking its own dick, which there's a lot of these days. You know, whenever I go to the cinema, there's always like some kind of ad that's like, movies are magical. And I'm like, okay, stop telling me movies are magical and just give me a fucking magical movie, you know? But anyway, yeah, I was worried that the movie would be Hollywood sucking its own dick, some kind of Oscar baity, movies are magical kind of vibe. The movie doesn't do that, but when it does do it, I thought that was actually more interesting than the convoluted, the guy is involved with drugs and the mafia and this and that and organized crime and deep fakes, and I did not care for that. Anyway, that aside, is this a good movie? It is a step up over Bullet Train, I'll give it that. Suffers from a lot of the same problems as Bullet Train, but to a lesser degree. The big problem I had with Bullet Train is those jokes that just need an editor. And I feel like there's still that problem with this movie where there'll be a joke and I'm like, ha! That was good. And then the joke goes on for another 3 minutes. The one moment that comes to mind is a moment where Ryan Gosling is in a trailer with the producer of the movie, and the producer is just going off about sexy bacon. I have no clue what that means, but they just keep saying, sexy bacon. It's a sexy bacon. Oh, you got sexy bacon? I got sexy bacon? We're sexy. You're sexy bacon. Sexy. And I'm just like, this is not funny. But this is the exact humor in a Marvel movie. It's that same kind of humor, and it's that humor that quirky urban people like. But it's just not funny to me. It's what I've noticed because I used to live in like a small town. I kind of grew up in small towns my whole life until a year or two ago. I moved to the big city, Toronto, and everyone has that sense of humor where it's just that random, no setup, but it's something completely random out of left field. That kind of quirky humor. And it just does nothing for me. That sexy bacon scene is gonna like stay rent-free in my brain as a symbol of hatred of modern humor. And the moment like that in Bullet Train was the Thomas the Tank Engine joke.
You ever watch Thomas the Tank Engine?
Here we go.
Where they just kept hammering, Thomas the Tank Engine, Thomas, and it's just not funny, and you just keep hammering it, and I don't quite get it. I don't. It pisses me off is what I'm getting at. But yeah, same problem, needs an editor. Movie's about a half an hour too long. Movie's based on a TV show, which I'm not really familiar with the TV show. But I'm guessing if it's based on a TV show, you don't have like 2 hours of material to write about. Here's another problem I had with the movie anyway. Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling didn't have chemistry. I loved Ryan Gosling in the movie. As a matter of fact, when the movie starts, you see Ryan Gosling with a back brace doing physiotherapy exercises for his injured back. His back is not injured because of a stunt gone wrong. His back is injured from carrying this fucking movie on it. The movie is pretty mid, but Ryan Gosling does carry it on his back pretty hard. But yeah, him and Emily Blunt, I felt like didn't have chemistry. Aaron Taylor Johnson, who I like usually, is just way too over the top in this movie. And then there's this producer as well who's very over the top. I feel like all the characters are too over the top. The plot is so convoluted. When you have likable characters, there's a lot you can forgive when it comes to the plot. Big Lebowski, classic movie. I don't know what was the plot of that movie. It had like porn stars and whatnot. I don't care. It's fun to follow the Lebowski around. It's Steve Buscemi, John Goodman. They're likable characters. And I feel like this movie needed more of that. I did like Ryan Gosling, but that wasn't enough. There was too much screen time allocated to people I didn't care about. And here's another thing. Another symbol of millennial, Gen X, Gen Z, I don't know which gen it is, but modern day humor. If a movie has a problem, they'll acknowledge the problem in the movie and then hope the audience laughs at it and moves on. But I'm like, no, the problem still persists. There's a point in this movie where the plot becomes so convoluted, but back in the first act of the movie, they said, oh, the third act of the movie is usually where it gets convoluted, and then when the third act comes around, they remind you, they do a callback, and they're like, you see, third acts are convoluted. And I'm like, okay, but I still have to endure very monotonous, very boring dialogue about drug deals gone wrong. Yeah. That's all I have to say, really, about Bullet Train. Not Bullet Train, Fall Guy. It's a very average movie. The stunts are good. Like, the movie promises to deliver stunts, and it delivers on that promise. And even at the end of the movie, they put, like, behind-the-scenes footage, kind of like a Jackass movie. I was expecting the song to be, if you're gonna be dumb, you gotta be tough. But yeah, I was expecting something a bit more, given it was Ryan Gosling. He's fresh off an Oscar nomination. I didn't have much faith in the director, but he did do Deadpool 2, and I liked Deadpool 2 quite enough. Yeah, it's just something about this movie. It has like that kind of modern day humor that just fails to make me laugh. Ryan Gosling's great in it. Plot's too convoluted. Great stunts, but yeah, it's overall a crapshoot. Needs another edit. Needs another script rewrite. Just a lot of improv that needs to be cut out of the script. Needs a different lead. Instead of Emily Blunt, maybe have an Emma Stone or someone that Ryan Gosling's worked with before who can play off of them really well. Yeah. Fall Guy. More like fall asleep guy. Fucking got him.